Okay, so the question that I've been getting the most lately is this idea of what are the four components for the National Board Certification and how do they fit together? Well, I know that I can do one at a time, but in the end, what's the big picture? So here's the big picture. The big picture is component one is what we call your testing component. You cannot take that until after April 1st of each season. So our season opens September 1, but typically the window for signing up for your test opens April 1st and goes through July the 15th. That test covers your content knowledge around the certificate area you chose for the National Board Certification. So if you chose AYA Science, which is a high school science teacher, and the content area was biology, we're going to see lots of content-based questions in multiple choice form and 3 constructed response forms for you. Now, if you're like me, an EC Gen, early childhood generalist, you are going to be tested across your age band, which is 3K to 8 years old, second grade, sometimes third. You're going to be tested on literacy, math, science, and play. And so those 4 tests are going, first of all, you're going to have that a multiple choice test, and then you're going to have 3 constructed responses around those other areas that I just talked about. So that test then is component 1, really testing your ability to use the National Board Certified National Board for Professional Teaching standards to be able to construct lessons, assessments, things like that to students' needs while thinking about content and mastering content on that constructed response. When you move to component 2, which is I call it your case study, because you don't use your entire class. You choose either 1 or 2 kids, depending on your certificate area. It's also the one that every certificate area, National Board has 25 certificates. All 25 of them are different. None are the same. So it's very difficult as a candidate support provider to support teachers inside of C2 because the requirements are so incredibly different. So component 2 for the National Board Certification, you really need to reach out to people that are in your certification area. And remember that component 2 is all around your ability to meet students' needs through differentiation of instruction. So they're really testing you on differentiation. Some of you have to do a lot with assessment. Some of you have to do a lot with writing. A lot of you have to show how you ask questions to answer those questions about the students in my words case study that you're dealing with. I think it's fun. I love component 2. It's probably my favorite component for the National Board. But again, candidate support providers are like, because everybody's different, and you really have to read into how you're different to complete that. Component 3 for the National Board is your teaching and learning component. That's where you're videotaping yourself twice, 2 10 to 15-minute videos. They must be drastically different from each other to show the big tool bag you have of pedagogy and content. So the assessors are wanting to see you in 2 of these 3 formats. One-on-one, small group, whole group. Most of you would end up doing a small group and a whole group lesson. That's just the way it shakes loose. Exceptional needs teachers, reading intervention teachers, things like that, sometimes utilize a one-on-one. And then other teachers too utilize one-on-one. But I'm just saying as the majority rule, most teachers use small group and whole group instruction. And again, they need to be vastly different to show your depth and your breadth. Now, component 3 and component 1, which I've already talked about, those are worth the most points to getting you over the hump to become a National Board Certified teacher. So you really want to focus very hard on those and understand that you really need to be a National Board Certified teacher in your mind, in your actions, your thinking, prior to videotaping yourself in C3. So my recommendation, as you probably heard me say in other videos, is to always start with the one that makes you into a nationally board certified teacher, and that's component 4. Now, I know most people are going to say, don't do component 4. It's the hardest one. It takes forever. Those things are true. It is very hard. It does take a long time. There are lots of pieces to it. You question yourself a lot around it, but it turns you into a national board certified teacher. And just as I did not embark on this process as a national board certified teacher, you're not either. You're doing the national board certification process to grow super big. So you didn't do this just to say, hey, I'm going to show somebody I'm amazing. You did this process to professionally grow into these standards and into these 5 core propositions for the national board. So please make sure that you remember the video. It's very obvious from those video lessons, teachers that truly know their standards for practice under the National Board Professional Teaching Standards for your certificate area, and those who do not. Those who understand how to give feedback, a very important part of C3, and those that do not. Those who have student-centered classrooms, and those who do not, right? Those who can reflect on their instruction and make plans for the future, and those who do not. Component 4 helps you grow into that. So I personally am a candidate support provider for teachers around component 4, something I dearly love, and component 3. And you can find out more information about that over at TraceyBryantStuckey.com if you haven't come over and seen that yet. Also have an initial candidate library of videos where I have answered loads of questions over time that are in that video. It's in that library. It's just hundreds of videos at this point, or it's growing into hundreds at least. So it's a fun place also to start if you want more information around mostly C3 and C4. I do answer a little bit around C2 and C1 in that, but it's majority C3 and C4. So that's a nutshell of all of the components of the National Board Certification process. And you can do them all in 1 year, or you can do them one at a time. And as I always suggest, I say start with component 4, then move to component 2, then move to component 3, because you grow into that national board teacher through component 4 and 2. Even though they're not worth as many points in the end, they're super important to growing you into that teacher on those videos, where all the points are at, besides the C1. You're also going to be ready for C1 by doing that too. All right, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.